The House on Maple Street. A dark psychological story. The arrival. Some houses, they just sit there, waiting. Not for buyers. Not for families. Not for laughter or Christmas mornings or kids running through sprinklers in the front yard. No. Some houses wait for someone specific. And when that person finally arrives, the house knows. Emily Carter didn't believe in any of that, of course. She didn't believe in much of anything anymore. Not after what happened to Sarah. 6 months earlier, Emily's twin sister Sarah died in a car accident. Not just died, vanished from this world in the most violent, sudden way possible. One moment they were on the phone, laughing about something stupid. The next moment, sirens. Hospital corridors. A white sheet. The grief didn't come all at once. It came in waves. Brutal, suffocating waves that would hit Emily at random times. In the grocery store, in the shower, at 3 a.m. when she'd reach for her phone to text Sarah before remembering. Before remembering, that's the cruelest part about loss, isn't it? Those few seconds every morning when you wake up and you've forgotten. And then it all crashes back down. Emily couldn't stay in the city anymore. Everything reminded her of Sarah. Their favorite coffee shop. The park where they used to run. Even her own reflection in the mirror felt like a betrayal because she looked exactly like the sister she'd lost. So she did what broken people do. She ran. The town was called Riverside. Population 3,847. One of those perfect little American suburbs that looks like it was designed by someone who'd watched too many 1950s sitcoms. White picket fences. Tree-lined streets. A main street with a diner that still had a jukebox. The kind of place where people wave at strangers. The kind of place where nothing bad ever happens. Or so it seems. Emily's car rolled down Maple Street on a gray October afternoon. Dead leaves tumbled across the road like they were running from something. The GPS announced she'd arrived. And there it was. 627, Maple Street. Her new home. It was a 2-story colonial. White exterior, black shutters, a wraparound porch that probably looked charming in the summer. Now, under the overcast sky, it looked empty. That's the word that came to Emily's mind. Not old. Not creepy. Just empty. Like a body with no soul inside. She grabbed her suitcase from the trunk. The street was quiet. Too quiet. No kids playing. No cars passing. Just the sound of wind moving through the bare trees. And then, "You must be Emily." She nearly jumped out of her skin. A woman stood at the property line. Late 50s, perfect blonde bob, wearing a cardigan that looked like it cost more than Emily's car. Her smile was wide. Too wide. "I'm Margaret. Margaret Chen. I live right next door." She pointed to the immaculate house to the left. "Welcome to the neighborhood. We're so happy you're here." Something about the way she said that last part made Emily's skin prickle. "We're so happy you're here." Asterisk. Not "we're happy to have you," or "welcome to Riverside." But "you're here." Like they'd been expecting her specifically. "Thanks," Emily managed. Just moving in today." Of course. "Well, if you need anything, and I do mean anything, you just knock on my door, okay? Day or night." Margaret's smile never wavered. Her eyes, though, they lingered, studying Emily's face like she was trying to memorize it. Or like she was comparing it to something. "I will. Thank you." Margaret finally turned to leave, but she paused. "Oh, and Emily? You look just like her, you know. Just exactly like her." Emily's blood went cold. "Like who?" But Margaret was already walking away, that smile still plastered on her face, humming something under her breath. First night in the house. The realtor had left the keys under the mat. Emily unlocked the front door and stepped inside. The house smelled like dust and something else. Something floral and decaying at the same time. Old potpourri, maybe. The previous owners had left it fully furnished, which should have been convenient, but instead felt wrong. Personal items still on the shelves. Books. Photographs turned face down. A coffee mug in the sink. Like someone had just gotten up and walked out in the middle of their life. Emily told herself it was fine. She was getting a fully furnished house for practically nothing. The realtor said the previous owner had to relocate suddenly for work. Estate sale. Everything must go. She walked through the first floor. Living room with a fireplace. Kitchen with yellow tile from the 1970s. Dining room with a chandelier that looked like it weighed 100 pounds. Then she heard it. Tap, tap, tap. Emily froze. Her heart hammered. The sound was coming from upstairs. Rhythmic. Deliberate. Like someone knocking on wood. Or like footsteps. Hello. Her voice cracked. The tapping stopped. Silence pressed against her eardrums. She waited. 30 seconds. A minute. Nothing. Old house, she told herself. Pipes. Settling. Whatever. But her hands were shaking as she climbed the stairs. The master bedroom was at the end of the hallway. Emily pushed the door open slowly, half expecting. What? Someone standing there? Empty. Just a bed with a faded floral comforter, a dresser, and a closet with a sliding door that was open about 6 inches. Dark inside. She walked to the closet and slid the door fully open. Just clothes. Women's clothes. Size small. Emily's size. And they looked familiar. Not like she'd seen them before, but like they were hers. Her style. Her colors. It was unsettling in a way she couldn't quite articulate. She closed the closet and sat on the bed. The mattress groaned under her weight. Outside, the sun was setting fast. Long shadows stretched across the floor. That's when she noticed it. On the nightstand. A framed photograph. Face down. Emily picked it up and turned it over. Her breath caught in her throat. The photograph showed a woman standing in front of this house. Same porch. Same steps. The woman was smiling, but it was the kind of smile that didn't reach the eyes. And her face. It looked exactly like Emily. Not similar. Not could be related. Exactly like her. Same dark hair. Same green eyes. Same small scar above her left eyebrow from when she fell off a bike at age 7. Emily's hands trembled. She flipped the photo over. Written on the back in neat cursive. Emma. 627, Maple Street. October 2019. 5 years ago. Who the hell is Emma? First strange occurrence. That night, Emily barely slept. She lay in the unfamiliar bed, in the unfamiliar house, in the unfamiliar town, and listened to the sounds around her. Every creak, every groan, every whisper of wind against the windows. At 2:47 a.m., she heard it again. Tap, tap, tap. This time it was closer. Not upstairs. Inside the walls. She sat up. The room was dark except for the pale moonlight coming through the window. The tapping continued. Moving. Like something, or someone, was inside the walls, walking alongside her room. Tap, tap, tap. It stopped at the closet. Emily's heart was a war drum in her chest. She couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. The closet door slid open. Just an inch. Then another. Slowly. So slowly. And then it stopped. Silence. Emily grabbed her phone and turned on the flashlight. Her hands were shaking so badly she almost dropped it. She aimed the light at the closet. Nothing. Just clothes swaying slightly on their hangers. But when she moved the light down, there were wet footprints on the floor, leading from the closet to the side of her bed. Small. Barefoot. Like a woman's. Emily didn't sleep the rest of that night. Morning came like a relief. Sunlight flooded the bedroom, making everything seem normal again. Emily convinced herself she'd imagined the footprints. Condensation, maybe. Or she'd gotten up to use the bathroom and forgotten. You're stressed. Grieving. Your mind is playing tricks. She showered, dressed, and decided to explore the town. Get breakfast. Be normal. Pretend this was just a fresh start and not whatever it was starting to feel like. The diner was called Rosie's. Red vinyl booths. Black and white checkered floor. A waitress who looked like she'd been working there since the Eisenhower administration. What can I get you, hon? Just coffee and toast. Thanks. The waitress, her name tag said Diane, poured the coffee and lingered. You're new in town. Not a question. A statement. Yeah. Just moved into 627 Maple. Diane's face changed. Just for a second. Something flickered behind her eyes. Fear? Sadness? Pity? That's so, she said quietly. Then she glanced around, leaned in closer. You be careful in that house, sweetheart. It's got a history. What kind of history? But Diane was already walking away, like she'd said too much. Emily sat there, her coffee going cold, watching the people of Riverside go about their morning. And she noticed something strange. People kept looking at her. Not staring, but glancing. Quick looks. Then they'd whisper to whoever they were with. A man in a suit. An elderly woman with a walker. A teenager in a Letterman jacket. They all looked. They all whispered. Like they knew her. Like they'd been waiting for her. That afternoon, Emily decided to explore the house more thoroughly. If she was going to live here, if she was going to heal here, she needed to make it hers. She started with the attic. The pull-down stairs creaked as she climbed. Dust floated in the single beam of light from a small window. The attic was full of boxes. Dozens of them. Old furniture covered in sheets. A dress mannequin standing in the corner that made her jump when she first saw it. She opened the first box. More photographs. Different ages. Different years. But the same face. Her face. Emma at a birthday party. Emma at the beach. Emma in this very attic, smiling at the camera. Emily's hands trembled as she went through them. It wasn't possible. It couldn't be possible. Then she found the newspaper clippings. Local woman reported missing. Emma Hartwell, 27, disappeared from her home on Maple Street last Tuesday. Police are investigating. The article was from October 2019. The photograph showed Emma, identical to Emily, standing in front of 627 Maple Street. Another clipping. Search for missing woman continues. No leads in the disappearance of Emma Hartwell. Family desperate for answers. And another. Missing woman case goes cold after 6 months of investigation. Police have no new leads in the Emma Hartwell case. It's like she vanished into thin air, says Detective Morrison. Emily sat back on her heels, her mind racing. Emma Hartwell disappeared from this house 5 years ago. And she looked exactly like Emily. What the hell is happening? Emily couldn't stop thinking about Emma. She spent the next 3 days going through everything in the attic. Every box. Every photograph. Every document. Building a timeline. Trying to understand. Emma Hartwell had moved to Riverside in 2018. 27 years old. No family mentioned in any of the articles. The police investigation had gone nowhere. No body. No evidence of foul play. No note. She'd simply vanished. But the more Emily learned, the more disturbed she became. Emma's handwriting looked like hers. Emma's taste in clothes was identical. Emma had been a graphic designer. Just like Emily. Emma drank tea, not coffee. Emily drank tea, not coffee. Emma had a scar above her left eyebrow. Just like Emily. It was like looking at her own life through a mirror. Or like Emma had been a blueprint. A practice run. For what? That's when the dreams started. Every night, the same dream. Emily is in the house. But it's different. The walls are bleeding. Not blood, something thicker. Darker. The floorboards are soft under her feet. Like they're made of flesh. She hears someone crying. A woman's voice. Coming from inside the walls. Emily follows the sound. Down the hallway. To the bedroom. To the closet. She opens the closet door. And Emma is there. Hanging. Eyes open. Staring. But still alive somehow. Her mouth moves. Trying to say something. You came back. Emma whispers. You always come back. Emily would wake up screaming. On the 4th day, Emily had had enough. She marched next door and knocked. Hard. Margaret answered with that same unsettling smile. Emily! What a pleasant surprise. Who is Emma Hartwell? Margaret's smile faltered. Just for a second. I'm sorry. Emma. The woman who lived in my house. The woman who disappeared 5 years ago. The woman who looks exactly like me. Emily's voice was rising. You said I looked just like her. You meant Emma, didn't you? Margaret's face went very still. Very careful. Emily, I think you should come inside. I don't want to come inside. I want answers. Please. Margaret's voice dropped. Not out here. Something in her tone made Emily follow her inside. They sat in Margaret's pristine living room. Everything was beige and cream and carefully arranged. Like a showroom. Like nobody actually lived there. Margaret took a deep breath. Emma Hartwell lived in that house for about a year before she disappeared. She was a lovely girl. Kept to herself mostly. She looked exactly like me. Yes. Margaret wouldn't meet her eyes. The resemblance is remarkable. That's not a coincidence. No, Margaret said quietly. I suppose it isn't. What does that mean? What the hell does that mean? Margaret stood up suddenly. I think you should leave, Emily. Not until you tell me what's going on. I can't. Margaret's voice was almost a whisper. I can't tell you. None of us can. None of us. Who's US? Margaret, what is this town? You need to leave. You need to pack your things and go. Tonight. Margaret was backing toward the door, her face pale. Before they realize you know. Before who realizes? Margaret. But Margaret had opened the door. Her hands were shaking. I'm sorry, Emily. I'm so sorry. But you shouldn't have come here. She practically pushed Emily out and slammed the door. Emily stood on the porch, her heart pounding, and looked around the street. Every house had someone standing in the window, watching her. All of them. Just watching. That night, the house changed. It wasn't subtle anymore. It wasn't trying to hide. Emily was in the kitchen making tea when every cabinet door flew open at once. Dishes rattled. The lights flickered. She ran to the living room. The photographs on the wall, pictures of the previous owners, landscapes, generic art, they were all facing backward. All of them turned to face the wall. Except one. The photograph of Emma. Front and center. Staring. Emily grabbed it and threw it across the room. The glass shattered. What do you want? She screamed at the empty house. What do you want from me? The lights went out. Pitch black. Emily fumbled for her phone, turned on the flashlight, and nearly dropped it. There were words on the wall, written in something dark, something that looked like it had been smeared by fingers. You came back. You always come back. It's your turn. Emily ran. Out of the house. Down the porch steps. Into the street. She didn't know where she was going. She just ran. Past Margaret's house. Past the other perfect suburban homes with their perfect lawns and their watching windows. She ran until she reached the edge of town, where the street ended and the forest began. And she saw it. A sign. Old. Weathered. Hidden behind overgrown bushes. Riverside Institute of Psychological Research. EST 1962. Private property. Below it, in smaller letters, authorized personnel only. Emily's blood turned to ice. An institute. A project. This wasn't a town. This was an experiment. Emily didn't go back to the house that night. She slept in her car in a gas station parking lot 2 towns over. But she couldn't leave. Not yet. Not until she understood. The next morning, she went to the library. The only one in Riverside. A small brick building that smelled like old paper and secrets. The librarian, an elderly man with thick glasses, barely looked up when Emily asked for historical records on Riverside. We don't have much, he said. Most of the town history is kept at the Institute. The Riverside Institute of Psychological Research? His fingers froze on the keyboard. He looked up at her. Really looked at her. And his face went white. You shouldn't ask about that, he whispered. Why not? Because. He glanced around, even though they were alone. Because the people who ask questions about the Institute, they don't stay in Riverside very long. What happens to them? He just shook his head. Go home, miss. Wherever home is. Go there. Forget about Riverside. But Emily couldn't forget. She searched online instead. In her car. On her phone. Riverside Institute of Psychological Research. There were only a few mentions. Academic papers from the 1960s and 70s. Studies on memory, on identity, on something called psychological imprinting. One paper, from 1973, made Emily's stomach turn. Project ECHO explores the hypothesis that human consciousness can be replicated through environmental and psychological conditioning. By creating a controlled environment and introducing subjects with similar genetic profiles, we may be able to achieve what we call experiential resonance, the sensation of having lived a life that is not one's own. Genetic profiles. Similar subjects. Introducing subjects with similar genetic profiles. Twin studies. Emily's hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold the phone. They hadn't just studied Emma. They'd brought her here. Studied her. Made her disappear. And now they'd brought Emily. Because of Sarah. Because Emily had a twin. Because she fit the profile. Emily went back to 627 Maple Street after dark. She didn't turn on any lights. Just used her phone flashlight. She had to find proof. She had to find evidence of what they'd done. She went straight to the basement. She hadn't been down there yet. Hadn't wanted to. But if there were answers, they'd be there. The basement stairs were wooden and creaked under her weight. The air was colder down here. Damp. The walls were unfinished concrete. And there were doors. 3 of them. All locked. Emily grabbed a screwdriver from a toolbox in the corner and jimmied the first lock. It broke. The door swung open. A room. Empty except for a chair in the center. Metal. With restraints on the arms and legs. Dried blood on the restraints. Emily's stomach lurched. She moved to the second door. This one had a window. Small. Reinforced glass. She looked through. It was a bedroom. But not a normal bedroom. The walls were padded. White. Like a cell. And there were cameras in the corners. Recording. They watched her. They watched Emma. The third door was different. Heavier. With a keypad lock. Emily tried the screwdriver but it wouldn't budge. Then she heard it. Tap, tap, tap. Coming from behind the door. Emily froze. Hello. The tapping stopped. Then, muffled. A voice. Help me. Emily's blood went cold. Emma. Help me. Please. I don't want to forget again. Emma, what are they doing to you? They make us forget. Every time. They make us forget and then we come back and it starts over. It always starts over. I don't understand. You're me. I'm you. We're all the same. All the Emmas. All the Ellens. All the Ellies and Evvies and Aarons. They keep bringing us back. They keep studying us. And when we remember too much, they make us disappear. Emily's heart was a hammer. How many? How many have there been? I don't know anymore. 10. 20? I've been here so long. I can't remember my real name. Footsteps upstairs. Heavy. Multiple people. They know you're here, the voice whispered. You need to run. You need to run right now. I'm not leaving you. I'm already gone. There's nothing left to save. Run. The basement lights turned on. All at once. Blinding. Emily spun around. 3 people stood at the top of the stairs. 2 men in dark suits. And a woman in a white coat. Doctor someone. Emily couldn't see her face. The light was too bright. Emily, the woman said calmly. Why don't you come upstairs? We need to talk. Emily looked at the locked door. At the stairs. At the people blocking her way. She was trapped. They brought her upstairs. Sat her in the living room. The same living room where she'd slept and eaten and tried to convince herself everything was normal. The woman in the white coat sat across from her. She was in her 50s. Professional. Cold. Her ID badge said Dr. Rebecca Stone. Director. I know you have questions, Dr. Stone said. Let me out of here. You're not a prisoner, Emily. You can leave any time you want. Bullshit. Dr. Stone sighed. You're right. That was a lie. I'm sorry. Old habit. She folded her hands. Let me start over. You can't leave. Not yet. Not until we've finished. Finished what? The study. Emily laughed. It came out harsh. Broken. Study. You're calling this a study? You brought me here. You set this up. The house, the town, all of it. You're studying me like I'm a fucking lab rat. Not you specifically, Dr. Stone said. Your type. Women with a specific genetic marker. Identical twins, usually. Women who've experienced recent trauma, particularly loss of their twin. Your psychological profile makes you uniquely susceptible to what we call experiential displacement. Stop talking like that. Stop using your academic bullshit to describe what you're doing to people. We're trying to understand consciousness. Emily. We're trying to understand if identity is fixed or malleable. If we can create environments so precise, so psychologically crafted, that we can make someone believe they've lived a life they haven't. Make them experience memories that aren't theirs. Emily's voice dropped to a whisper. Emma. Emma was the 17th iteration. You're the 23rd. 23. 23 women brought to this house. To this town. To this nightmare. What happened to them? What happened to Emma? Dr. Stone's face didn't change. Most subjects complete the study successfully. They're compensated. Memory suppressants are administered. They go on to live normal lives with no recollection of Riverside. And the ones who don't complete the study successfully? Silence. What happened to Emma, Dr. Stone? Emma became problematic. She started to remember previous iterations, previous versions of the study. She started to destabilize psychologically. We had to terminate her participation early. You killed her. We placed her in long-term care. Where? That's classified. Emily stood up. The men in suits moved toward her, but Dr. Stone held up a hand. You're angry, Dr. Stone said. I understand. But Emily, listen to me. You came here because part of you wanted this. You were broken, grieving, lost. We gave you a new beginning. A mystery to solve. A purpose. For a few weeks, you forgot about Sarah's death, didn't you? You forgot about your pain. Emily's eyes filled with tears. You used my grief. You used my sister's death to manipulate me into coming here. We gave you a gift. We gave you a distraction from unbearable pain. And when this is over, you won't remember any of it. You'll wake up somewhere else, with a fresh start, and your grief will be manageable, processed. We're helping you. By making me think I'm losing my mind? By trapping me in a haunted house? By showing me pictures of women who look like me and then telling me they've disappeared? You call that help. We call it radical grief therapy. And it works, Emily. Every subject who's completed the protocol has gone on to live a healthier, more fulfilled life. Emily wiped her eyes. I want to see Emma. That's not possible. I want to see what you did to her. Emily. Show me. Dr. Stone stood. Nodded to the men in suits. Fine. If you need to see. If that's what it takes. We'll show you. They drove her to the institute. The building hidden in the woods at the edge of town. It looked like an old hospital. Brick. Ivy covered. Windows with bars. Inside it was sterile. White walls. Fluorescent lights. The smell of antiseptic. Dr. Stone led Emily down a long hallway. Through security doors. Into an elevator that went down. 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 Below ground. When the doors opened, Emily almost vomited. Cells. Dozens of them. Glass-fronted. Like an aquarium. And inside, women. All of them looked the same. All of them looked like her. Some were sleeping. Some were pacing. Some were catatonic, staring at nothing. Project Echo, Dr. Stone said quietly. Over 60 years of research. Hundreds of subjects. All women who matched the genetic profile. All women who've lost their twin. All women who came to Riverside looking for peace. Emily couldn't breathe. You've been doing this since the 1960s? Consciousness research requires long-term study. Generational data. We've learned so much, Emily. About memory. About identity. About what makes us who we are. You're monsters. We're scientists. Dr. Stone stopped at one cell. raised her hand. The glass turned transparent. Inside, a woman sat on a bed. Older, 40-something, thin. Her hair was greasy and unkempt. She rocked back and forth, muttering to herself. "Emma," Dr. Stone said. "Or what's left of her." Emily pressed her hand to the glass. "Emma." The woman looked up. Her eyes were vacant. Gone. She remembered too much, Dr. Stone said. Her mind couldn't reconcile the different iterations, the different versions of the study. She fractured. This is what happens when subjects don't receive the memory suppressants in time. Emma stared at Emily, tilted her head, and then she smiled. "You're new," Emma whispered. Her voice was rough, unused. "You're the new one. The new me. I'm Emily. Emily Carter." That's what they told me too. That's what they tell all of us. Emma's smile widened. It didn't reach her eyes. But we're all the same. We're all just echoes. They brought Emily back to the house. Back to 627 Maple Street. Dr. Stone sat her down. Gentle now. Almost kind. "You have a choice," she said. "You can complete the study. Tomorrow morning, we'll administer the suppressants. You'll forget all of this. The house. The town. Emma. All of it. You'll wake up in a new city with a job offer, an apartment, a fresh start. And your grief over Sarah will be processed. Manageable. You'll be able to move forward. And if I don't?" Dr. Stone's face hardened. "Then you become like Emma. We can't let you leave with this knowledge. We can't let you expose the project. You'll be placed in long-term care. Comfortable. Federal medicated. But contained. Those are my options? Forget or be imprisoned. I'm afraid so." Emily laughed. It sounded insane even to her own ears. "And what about the next one? What about subject 24? And 25? How many more women are you going to do this to?" "As many as it takes to understand consciousness. To understand grief. To understand what makes us us." "You don't understand anything," Emily said quietly. "You're just torturing people and calling it science." "Perhaps." Dr. Stone stood. "You have until morning to decide. The men outside will make sure you don't leave. But you're free to move around the house. Think it over, Emily. Really think about what you want. Freedom without memory? Or memory without freedom?" She left. Emily sat in the dark living room, listening to the house settle around her. The same house that had terrified her. The same house that had driven Emma insane. And she realized something. The house wasn't haunted by ghosts. It was haunted by echoes. Echoes of all the women who'd been brought here. All the Emmas and Ellens and Aarons and Ellies. All the twins who'd lost their other half and come looking for peace. All of them trapped in this nightmare. All of them given the same choice. Emily made her decision. In the morning, when Dr. Stone returned with her clipboard and her needles and her promises of fresh starts, Emily looked her in the eyes. "I'll take the suppressants," she said. "I'll forget." Dr. Stone smiled. Relieved. "You're making the right choice. But I need to know one thing first." "What's that?" "Did Sarah really die in a car accident?" Dr. Stone's smile faltered. Just for a moment. And Emily knew. She knew. Sarah hadn't died in an accident. Sarah had been part of this. Sarah had been brought to Riverside first. Sarah had been studied, tested, broken. And when Sarah didn't complete the study, when Sarah remembered too much, they'd made her disappear. And then they'd come for Emily. Because twins make the perfect subjects. The perfect control group. Sarah's death was verified by the authorities, Dr. Stone said carefully. "I can show you the reports." "Don't." Emily's voice was hollow. "Just don't." Dr. Stone prepared the injection. Emily rolled up her sleeve. The needle went in. Cold liquid spreading through her veins. "Count backward from 10, Dr. Stone said softly. 10, 9, 8. Emily's vision blurred. The room swam. 7, 6. She saw Sarah, standing in the corner, smiling, waving goodbye. 5, 4. "I'm sorry," Sarah mouthed. I'm so sorry.
3, 2.
The world went dark. 6 months later, a woman named Ellen Morrison moves into a quiet suburban town called Riverside. She's a graphic designer, 28 years old. Recently lost her twin sister in a tragic accident. She's looking for peace, for healing, for a fresh start. The house is perfect. 627 Maple Street. 2-story colonial. White exterior. Black shutters. Fully furnished. Affordable. The neighbors are friendly. Maybe.